Alright, so tonight we are going to be swimming in the waters of personal consciousness. So the first thing I would like you to write about is consciousness and your definition of consciousness. And while you're thinking about what your definition of consciousness is, I'm going to go ahead and read a little poem. This is Dream Within a Dream by Edgar Allan Poe. Take this kiss upon thy brow, and in parting from you now, this much let me avow. You are not wrong who deem that my days have been a dream. Yet if hope has flown away in a night or in a day, in a vision or in none, is it therefore the less gone? All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. I stand amid the roar of a surf-tormented shore, and I hold with my hand grains of golden sand. How few, yet how they creep through my fingers to the deep, while I weep, while I weep. O God, can I not grasp them with a tighter clasp? O God, can I not save one from the pitiless wave? Is all that we see or seem but a dream within a dream? So tonight we have a few selections, a little bit from Nietzsche, a little bit from Yogananda, one of my favorites, and then we'll talk about the Samkhya. Samkhya. And we're going to discuss personal consciousness and using the scientific method, as we all know I love, to figure out what exactly we are. And it's on 212 we start. Alright, and I need to start with a Sanskrit word. Rishi is loosely translated one who sees. And that means they see themselves, they see God, they see truth, they perceive in a real sense instead of just the blind sense we normally use in our daily consciousness. So, how did the spiritual scientists, rishis, of ancient India discover these unalterable cosmic laws? Through experiment on the life and thought of man in the laboratories of their hermitages. To find the truth of physical things, we must experiment with physical substances. So to find the truth of reincarnation or the passage of the same soul through many bodies, it is necessary to experiment upon the consciousness of man. So what is consciousness? What am I? If I cut off my hand, am I any different? Can't use my hand, but am I any less me?
Yes.
No, my hands and body parts do not make me me. Even if I lost all my parts, I would still be the same person. Probably a little sadder for not having my hand, but I would get over it, I promise. These scientists of old found that the human ego persists through all changes of experience. So instead of losing your hand, are you you when you sleep? Are you you when you're awake? No? Are you different people?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well, it's even wider.
See, in my sleep, I have been a bird, but it was still my own consciousness behind it, my own perceptions behind it. It was still the me that I see as me. So, I did not change from birth to death, the Hindu experimentalists argued, that through concentration on the self, through a constant conscious, aloof, unidentified introspection or watching of the various changing states of life, that one could perceive the changeless and eternal nature of the self. Ordinarily, one is conscious of his waking state, and sometimes he is conscious also of his dreaming state. It is not uncommon during a dream for a person to be aware that he is dreaming. Through certain methods and practices, one can maintain conscious awareness during every state of being. And that's for way later.
Isn't that like lucid dreaming?
Lucid dreaming, yeah. So with that thought, we're going to see what Nietzsche has to say about dreaming. The beautiful illusion of the dream world, in the creation of which every man is truly an artist. So in our dreams, we all become artists. We lose contact with the body and we create not just one work of art, but an entire dream sequence. And the prerequisite of this is plastic energy to create that art. In our dreams, we delight in the immediate understanding of figures. So in your dream, you look at someone, you may not be able to identify them, but you immediately know them through the intuitive sense. They don't look like what you think they should, but you immediately know, well, that's my brother. You immediately know, this is the house from when I was a child. You don't have a sense of reason in dreams. You have a sense of intuition that shows you immediately and instantly what it is. It is not only the agreeable and friendly images that he experiences as something universally intelligible. There is the serious, the troubled, the sad, the gloomy, the sudden restraints, the tricks of accidents, anxious expectations. In short, the whole divine comedy of life, including the inferno, also pass before him, not like mere shadows on a wall, for he lives and suffers with these scenes, and yet not without the fleeting sensation of an illusion. So in other words, he's saying in our dreams we have exactly the same experiences as we do in our normal daily lives, right? But with this fleeting sensation that it's a dream. And perhaps many will, like myself, recall how amid the dangers and terrors of dreams, they have occasionally said to themselves in encouragement, and not without success, it's a dream. I will dream on. I have likewise heard people who were able to continue on with the same dream for 3 or even more successive nights, facts which indicate clearly how our innermost being, our common ground, experiences dreams with profound delight and a joyous necessity. So have you ever been in, like, last night, yesterday I did all this, and last night, just before I fell asleep, I was, right on that stage in between, and I was kind of asleep, and I had this dream that all of a sudden, one of my fillings falls out, and I'm like, damn, now I gotta go to the dentist. And then I just moved on. But has anybody had the experience? We're doing discussions at the end or in the middle?
What experience?
The experience of something terrible happens. You can't fathom it. Like mine is losing teeth. Like I have a dream that a tooth falls out. And I'll be freaking out and then I'll be like, it's just a dream. You'll dream on. Yeah?
One time in one of my dreams, I remember I grabbed like one of those the electric poles. You know how they have like the large cables that tie.
Oh yeah.
I had a dream that I grabbed one of those and zoom, I shocked myself.
Jurassic Park style.
No, and in my dream, I was on the ground, I could not move.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, I wasn't at the park.
And I wasn't at the park.
Yeah, I wasn't at the park, and I was just like, oh, I'm dreaming, and then I woke up.
And then I had one where my niece, you're going by, down the street, and you have those little manhole things that go down the side. I don't think it's a manhole, but it's the little gutter that drains down, right? And my niece falls down in that. So I jump down in after her, of course, and I'm sliding by the edge, trying to reach for her. and I fall down, flat. And all of a sudden I was just sitting over my body, like the body was down there and I was conscious up here, and I was like, wow, that sucked. And then went on to the next dream.
Did you see it?
Huh?
Did you see it?
No, I've heard it is horrible. I would not want to. Alright, let me see where we are. So, what do you think right about changeless and eternal nature of the self? So in one of those we talked about the changeless, eternal nature of the self. And if we are to accept, like never accept as fact, but if we are to think about it at least and accept the fact that maybe this is a dream, and maybe we are this changeless, eternal being who is merely dreaming these scenes we see. What does that mean for us? It means we probably shouldn't take it too seriously, right? When things are happening, we shouldn't freak out too much. When things are going wrong, we should say, I am dreaming. I will dream on. Right? It's a dream. Does the world seem real to you? I got a distinct impression today of extreme deja vu. Like one of the worst I've ever had, where I walk by these boys and I see them and they're building their little bridge project in physics and they're putting stuff together, and one kid, I think, cuts himself and the kid says something about it, but I look at this situation and it wasn't like that deja vu of where I've seen this at least once before. This was like, I have seen this 3 or 4 times. What is going on with this situation? So does the world seem real to you? In situations like that, it doesn't, right? And then if you think back, on your life and you think about the way you remember dreams, eventually certain parts of your life start to seem more like a dream than any persisting reality. Right? If you think about memories from 5, 10 years ago, they're like a haze far off in the distance that seems to have little to no lasting effect. Especially if you think about what happened 5,000 years ago. No one remembers. We kind of have pieced together evidence, but 10,000 years from now, what persisting evidence will there be that anything here occurred? So, someone grab the lights for us, please, and we'll move on to our short video. Oh, wait. Wrong one. Should just come on my Facebook. We're just going to watch the very
On December 16th, 1961, the world turned upside down, then inside out, and I was born screaming in America. It was the tail end of the American dream.
So, tail end of the American dream. We're talking about dreams. I figured we would stop here. The American dream was, if I work hard as a dishwasher, I can go to law school and make a good living. Nowadays, dishwashers can't afford to go to college, right? College has risen by such a rate. If I work hard, I can afford to buy a nice house. 2 teachers, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, could have bought on their salary a house in San Diego. Now they couldn't even come close to affording it because the same house has risen by 4,000%. So when he says he was born on the tail end of the American dream, it was just about to die. It was in its last throes, and now is pretty much dead.
Just before we lost our innocence irrevocably, when the TV eye brought the horror of our lives into our homes for all to see.
That's a beautiful, like this is all super compressed. The TV eye brought the horror of our lives for all to see. I remember being a junior in high school and watching Fox News show video of us killing people on the other side of the world. Regularly. 24-hour newscast of the death and destruction we wield in the name of democracy. They wield in the name of God, and neither speaks the truth, right? To kill someone else is never acceptable. You can say we are defending ourselves all you like, but you are going against all the teachings that have come from all the people who have ever been important. Jesus, Christ, Krishna, Rastafari, anybody who taught that everything that matters is consciousness and love would have never accepted, would have never declared war on anyone for any reason. And yet, Christians scream for the death of others. And that is what we could finally see once TV shattered our innocence.
I was told when I grew up I could be anything I wanted. A fireman, a policeman, a doctor, even a president, it seemed. And for the first time in the history of mankind, something new called an astronaut. But like many kids growing up on a steady diet of westerns, I always wanted to be the cowboy hero. That lone voice in the wilderness, fighting corruption and evil wherever I found it, and standing for freedom, truth, and justice. And in my heart of hearts, I still track the remnants of that dream wherever I go, in my never-ending ride into the setting sun.
Never-ending ride into the setting sun. All right. Any comments, questions?
It's gonna cut off at 20 minutes, so I'll have to start a new reading.
Okay, sounds good. All right. So let's think about what we've been thinking about.